I think we all can agree that customer loyalty programs and customer loyalty marketing have by far some of the highest brand engagement and ROI. Certainly, your loyal customers drive a lot of your revenue. And that's why we invest so much in loyalty programs. As a consumer, we all have our brands that we're loyal to. And so it's not surprising that 9 out of 10 consumers profess loyalty to some brand or brands, which is great for the brands because loyal customers also spend 36% more than non-loyalty customers. So those customers in their loyalty programs will spend more money than a customer that's not in their loyalty programs. I think we all understand, and that's our goal, is to drive our clients into loyalty programs. But what do you do with the new customers? They just come to your site, they might make their first purchase. How do you drive them to loyalty? Well, when we think about this early audience, you really don't know much about them. And so because of that, they get the short end of the stick. They're getting a lot of batched campaigns. They're getting reconfirmations of their existing purchases. They're getting put into wrong drip campaigns based on a very limited data set. So they're getting really off the mark marketing. And therefore, you're not driving your early audience into loyal affiliation, at least not yet. So customers, here's what they think. They think that organizations should do a better job of getting to know them and make that their top priority. And frankly, I couldn't agree more. The more you can understand and know your customer, the better you can do a job in moving them through the customer cycle. So when it comes to email marketing, it's getting them in the right campaigns, right? It's actually maybe using the right channel to reach your customers, right? But it's all about using the right data to make a great first impression with your early audience. And there's a lot of data out there, right? And so when you think about your loyalty program, you have a lot of data. You might have a very sophisticated artificial intelligence engine that helps you optimize and determine what offers and what messages and what images should go into a campaign. But how do you really do that with early stage and in your new audience? So think about the data you have at hand, right? So if somebody comes and makes a purchase, at the very least, you have some purchase history right out of the gate. They just bought tennis shoes, right? You also might have their user email, so Dave0484@gmail. When you look at that email, having a whole first name and a sequence of numbers that make sense, we could assume, frankly, that Dave was born in April of 1984. He's got a Gmail account, and he's got his full name, Dave, in there. There's a likely that Dave's a relatively early adopter to Gmail and has been using this account frequently. Time of day, coming in at 7 a.m. to make the purchase. That's an early morning action. And as you look at some click history you might see that Dave's been on your site early and late at night. And so that could help you give some idea as to when to communicate with Dave. But it's certainly not enough to understand much about Dave and why Dave might have bought those tennis shoes. So when we look at third-party data, right, you can look at some demographic data. So you could see that Dave is 35, he's single, he's a homeowner. So what can you learn from that? And how does it, change your impression or contextualize the experience? Well, one thing, you might have an idea that Dave's shops for himself and is likely to have more disposable income and a steady job since he's 35, single, and a homeowner. From a behavioral perspective, you might have noticed that Dave was able to learn through third-party data that he visits Kelley Blue Books. And so he's either likely in market for a car or very interested in automotive and sort of a car lover and, wants to keep up with what's new in the cars. And then from an email activity metrics, you get third-party data to find out how popular that email is, how frequently it's used, and how often and recent it's opened other offers. And so, if they have a recent open date and high popularity and frequency, this email represents a very active shopper, and that could help you determine frequency. But when you combine this data set, what you're going to do is contextualize behavior. And by combining the data set, you can learn a lot about the user behind that email, right? So by combining demographic, behavioral, and contact data, you begin to put color around the person, and you might learn that they're connected often on their iPhone, they love to travel, they're modeling a home, they're a mother who's a bargain hunter. And with that information, you can help determine how you want to engage and what you want in your messaging. So some of the do's that we love to talk about in terms of leveraging personalization and leveraging data to drive that loyalty is to use demographics such as gender, income, location. Throughout my years as a marketer, I have found age, gender, location, marital status, presence of children, homeowner status, and income to be very useful. And when you can tie that data and leverage the purchase and behavioral data you already have on the customer, you can begin to combine that data set to contextualize their behavior. So back in December, I was shopping for video games for my little niece. And frankly, none of those searches had anything to do with what I would do for about 11 months and 2 weeks out of the rest of the year. And so when the brand was able to take my behavioral data, my purchase data, but tie it with my demographic data, my age, my gender, the fact that I'm a homeowner with no children in the house, they were able to better understand that I was buying a gift, and now they could drop me into the right segment to encourage me to make purchases for myself. So it's real important to understand that buyer's journey also, and where they are along the journey, and using the data to influence and encourage next movement down that journey. In many cases, how do we move them down the journey towards loyalty? And then, of course, using data to engage with them at the right time and in the right channel is what you need in order to boost loyalty and give you a chance to turn these early customers into your loyal customers. Now, we do a lot in email marketing because it works and it's very efficient, but there's some don'ts. From your subject line, you shouldn't have misleading subject lines. There's recently an email from a travel site that often will tell me to click now for 50% off travel. But then when I discover and I go in, the dates I want to travel are never available. And that's misleading and really an unpleasant experience. So in terms of your design, you want your design to be clean. You want it to be mobile friendly. And you want your template to be allow for a predictable experience for your clients. Especially your loyalty programs. They're used to, a recommended offer maybe at the top, some other exploration in the middle, right? And then, maybe a call to action, but sort of, over time, as your customers engage with your loyalty emails, they expect to see certain content in certain places. So have a really good template. When you're retargeting, right? Let's not retarget for too long. So for instance, if a consumer bought winter boots in November, that retargeting offer should not, if they're looking at winter boots in November, that retargeting offer should not be following them around in April. So really, retargeting for too long is almost the same as out of context promotions. And out of context promotions often result from personalization based on low frequency searches. So those middle don'ts kind of go hand in hand. And then, of course, be careful about being overly personal with your copy. Provide appropriate general engagement, but don't get overly personal. Certainly not until they're in your loyalty program. And then in terms of mailing frequency, do not use the same mailing frequency for all, right? So allow the customer's response to help you model out ongoing frequency. And then certainly your most loyal customers are comfortable talking, hearing from you more often than your less engaged customers. Additionally, mailing frequency should have something to do with the life of the product that they've been purchasing from you, or the products you sell. So keep track of mailing frequency. Let's take a look at a few case studies. In this first case study, we were working with a customer that offers spa discounts. And initially, they sent the same offer to everybody in their database. And so people were going on, and it wasn't just discounts, it was coupons with a discount. So people were buying these coupons, but they didn't know much about the user, and they continued to just push the same offer. And so one of the things they tested was gender and marital status. They took 2 fields and that was it. And they used them and applied them and dropped consumers into different campaigns, including a control group. And so for a single woman, she got a message that it was longer than this one, but this is the crux of what was said. Tired of holiday shopping for loved ones, you deserve something for yourself. And so, treat yourself for this discount. For a married man, they knew that their offers, in this case, this was a mani-pedi offer, that men were not responding to this for themselves. They had the data to suggest that. So they used an offer that would encourage the man to come back and buy further coupons for later purchases. When they personalized the content using demographic data, it resulted in a 300% increase in revenue from the mail-ins compared to the control group. So it worked real well. It was a fantastic offer and a great program. In our next example, we have a retail client, very boutique clothing. Think super preppy clothing, which I might have just dated myself. I'm not sure if preppy's a typical term we use today, but that's how I describe it. And what they were doing was sending a one-size-fits-all email to everybody. We call that blast and batch. They called it one-size-fits-all. And so their hypothesis was that if they would segment emails, they would provide greater results than a one-size-fits-all. So what they did was they used demographic data and married it with purchase data that they pulled out of Magento to build out segments. And they were using age and gender, marital status, presence of children, homeowner status, and income as the fields that they were combining with their purchase data. And from the combination of data, they created various drip campaigns with personalized content and graphics and offers for each segment. They measured and compared the segment campaigns to the control group, and they found over a 5-month period a 912% increase in site traffic and at 22 times ROI by revenue, when measuring revenue, when you looked at the campaigns that used more data and segmented campaigns versus the control group. So as you can see, again, this worked very well for a mid-sized retailer, and I'm not sure that it really surprises any of us. Now, one advanced tip we'd like to add in there is as you're all mostly working from home and thinking about the next big campaigns you have, whether it's a back-to-school offer or you want to prepare your database for next year's holiday season, and frankly, it's never too early to prepare for that, you have a lot of emails that are unresponsive. And some of those unresponsive emails are bad emails. They're emails you shouldn't be mailing to. But how do you know which of those emails you should use for a re-engagement campaign? And so what we do with our clients is we look at that data and we can append open data. We can let them know where this email has been active for other brands. And we could also append email activity metrics, let them know which emails have shown frequently come up and how many sites they come up. So that's popularity and frequency of that email over the last 3 to 6 months. And when you bring that data in, you could identify the emails that might be gold within this database of unresponsive emails and take those emails in a re-engagement strategy to try to win back those customers. So additionally, as you learn a lot about how you can use additional third-party data with their past performance and behavioral data, you can now segment them into more personalized and re-engaged campaigns for these re-engagement programs. So that's just an advanced tip. Certainly you can learn more about that at TowerData.com. So hopefully throughout this presentation, I've also been able to answer some of your questions in the chat portal, but certainly feel free to add any additional questions, and we'll hold for another 30 seconds or so I can answer such questions. In the meantime, it's been a pleasure to spend time with you. Again, my name's Phil Davis. I'm with TowerData, and stay safe, keep social distancing, and hopefully soon we'll all be back to normal. Have a fantastic day. Thank you so much.